So even though my outfit does not really reflect the creepiness of this channel, let me tell you, it is very hot outside today, and I don't feel like putting on a huge, chunky, black sweater. So deal with the pink, okay? So today I'm going to be reading to you guys some creepy ghost stories. And some of them I guess would more count as urban legends, but we're just gonna say they're ghost stories or urban legends. Probably gonna title this video Urban Legends, to be honest. But regardless of what I'm going to title this video, I'm going to be reading to you some creepy stories from the internet. But before we get started, I'm Sophia Lovelace and I post about ghosts, ghouls, anything creepy and cool. So if you like any of that stuff, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below to be notified when I have new uploads. Also, when you're down there, make sure to hit the bell icon so you're one of the first people notified when I have new uploads. Hitting the bell lets you know when I upload premieres, which is an opportunity for you to chat with me live as we watch my video together. So I am going to be reading from my phone, which I know is not ideal. Most of you guys really don't like it when I do that. Knowing me, I can't really improvise that well, so I'm just going to be looking down at these guys and kind of using it for my notes. So, Birmingham, Alabama was founded in 1871, 5 years after the Civil War, and with it, the need for tons of iron to fix America's crumbling infrastructure. To satisfy the demand, James Withers Sloth started construction on the Sloth furnaces. A year later, the Sloss, it's spelled like S-Loss, not like sloth, as in like the little thing that's in South America. Not the little thing, it's a pretty big thing, actually, to be honest with you. A year later, the company opened its doors to hundreds of employees, according to its official website. Although working on the blast furnaces was an advanced job, it was also dangerous. That danger was soon realized as many workers by falling to their death and going into the furnaces, which is nasty. Conditions only worsened in the 1900s as a cruel foreman, James Slag Wormwood, don't trust anyone named Wormwood, to be honest. Isn't that the name of the guy in Lord of the Rings who's like, oh, that's Worm Tongue? Never mind. So anyways, this foreman started to look after all of the employees, and apparently he was not a nice guy. And as a result of this person being hired, 50 people died on site. Now, this is really high proportionally because I study business. I'm currently in university studying for a business degree, and one thing that I know is that one bad hire can get rid of 3 good employees, or that's just a statistic that professors like to throw around. Usually when they're talking about the one bad hire leads to 3 employees not working for your company anymore, it usually doesn't result into their deaths. It just results in them quitting. So having people die is kind of a step up from that. And allegedly, the employees in retaliation decided they were going to push this man into the furnace. Apparently on the site, workers can still hear someone shouting things like "get back to work," which is pretty disturbing. And apparently this place also holds like a Halloween horror night near Halloween, which is strongly based and inspired by these legends of the factory. This one is pretty popular, but I thought I would include it anyways, and that is the story of the Bell Witch. Not to be confused with the Blair Witch, which actually inspired the Blair Witch. No, the Bell Witch inspired the Blair Witch, not the Blair Witch inspired the Blair Witch, because that would make no sense. So way back in the 1800s, a man named John Bell moved in with his family to an area in Tennessee called Red River, which is now known as Adams, Tennessee. And honestly, this is kind of disappointing because when I was a kid, I went to go to Tennessee and I went to Pigeon Forge. That was a fun place. And I would love to go back. So maybe if I ever do go back to Tennessee, we will go visit the Bell Witch farm or whatever this place is, because I really really love the Blair Witch Project. Am I getting sidetracked? I don't think this is relevant to the video at all. So as soon as this family started getting settled in, the Bell family started getting settled in to their new home, strange things started happening. The family began to hear some bizarre noises, including dogs barking. That's not a strange thing at all. They heard chains rattling, rats chewing. Again, rats. I mean, especially in the 1800s, that's a pretty normal thing to hear in your house. And a woman whispering. Now this is pretty spooky. Soon the woman, I'm assuming the ghost that was whispering, was known as the Bell Witch, and many people believe she's the ghost of a former neighbor of the Bells, Kate Batts. Batts and the Bells had a dispute over land, and she sworn her vengeance on the Bell family before she died. Later on, Bell died from poisoning, and it's rumored to be the work of the Bell Witch. The ghosts of the Crescent Springs in Eureka, Arkansas. So this place was actually featured in Ghost Hunters, and I remember once I saw that it was in Eureka Springs, I kind of was like jogged of my memory of watching that video of Ghost Hunters, and the article does actually mention that, and they did get some convincing evidence based on a thermal cam. I will not link it in this video because I have a feeling that Ghost Hunters is actually quite strict on copyright. They don't seem like they would allow me to put that in this video. So I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to link it down below if you want to see what they caught on thermal. It is pretty interesting thing to look at. So the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas opened in 1886. And during construction, a worker named Michael was killed, and his ghost reportedly still haunts room 218. Is that the Michael that I heard in my previous video? Anyways, if you guys still have any theories about what happened to me in that video, make sure to leave your thoughts down below. And if you want to see the full video and my full experience that happened while I was actually filming a reaction video, I will have that full video linked in the description below, because that was a pretty terrifying experience and I still have no explanation of what happened. But anyways, back to these creepy stories and not my personal experiences. The hotel came over the ownership of known medical fraud Norman Baker in 1937, who fancied himself a doctor. He turned the hotel into Baker Cancer's Hospital, claiming that he had a cure for the disease, which he obviously didn't, because cancer is still a very prevalent issue today. Patients who died under his care were buried right under the hotel's basement, which served as a makeshift morgue. He was arrested in 1940, but his patients' spirits are said to still remain. Since the hotel is still open, guests often say that they see apparitions and hear noises during their stays. Number 5. The Hugging Molly in Abbeville, Alabama. It's best to stay home when the sun sets in Abbeville, Alabama. If you want to avoid Hugging Molly's chilly embrace, as the legend goes, beginning in the 1900s, an oversized figure clad in all black began to roam the streets at night looking for unsuspecting victims. Once she fixates on someone, she hugs the person and screams loudly into their ears. Many people have recounted stories of being chased by what they believe was Hugging Molly. Local parents have even taken advantage of the story to keep their children in line. So she's kind of like the boogeyman. The town embraces its nighttime warden, proudly calling itself the home of Hugging Molly. And there's even a family-friendly restaurant named after her. Now, that's a marketing tool. And I know, because I'm a business student. So I even Googled how to pronounce this name, but I still have no idea. So I think it's Surrency. The Surrency clan began experiencing paranormal activities in present day. Oh my god. How many times are they gonna get me to say this name? Like, seriously. So in Georgia, in the 1870s, family members reported witnessing objects soaring across the rooms, hearing laughter and crying, and seeing red eyes staring into the house. Food was thrown from their plates and utensils twisted in unusual shapes. The townspeople speculated that these occurrences were cries for help from spirits who thought the family would be able to save them. On the day the family decided to finally leave the house, a fire iron allegedly floated up and started hitting one of the sons on the head. No one was ever brave enough to live in the house again, and the building went up into flames in 1925. The ghost of Bellamy Bridge in Marianna, Florida. For a taste of haunting love, travel over the spooky bridge in Marianna, Florida, which has several ghost legends surrounding the structure according to its official website. In the 1830s, Elizabeth Jane Croom Bellamy married local politician Dr. Samuel C. Bellamy. On their wedding night, her dress accidentally caught fire, which covered the young bride in horrible burns. She inevitably survived, but eventually passed away. Elizabeth was buried along the banks of a river, and it was said that her love for her husband was so strong that she couldn't rest. The deceased newlywed, dressed in white, can allegedly be seen wandering the banks of the bridge, which was built after she died, and it is said that she appears to be on fire, either walking through the swamps or diving straight into the water, as if to doze off the flames, or somberly walking along the side of the river. The ghost of Deer Island in Mississippi. On May 20th, 1922, Mr. Tony relayed his tale in a column in the Sunday Herald. He writes that in the early 1800s, two fishermen spent the night on Deer Island. They heard noises that they ignored until it became impossible to do so. They went to see what was causing the ruckus, and they claimed to find a headless skeleton that ran after the pair. They immediately made a beeline for their boat and got off the island immediately. It's said that the bony frame belongs to a pirate who had his head chopped off by his captain, and his body was left behind as a ghastly guard to watch over the buried treasure. So that one's pretty cool because it's about pirates, and I love pirates, and I just remembered I should probably do a pirate theme video on this channel. What would you guys think about that? Is that silly, or would you love to hear pirate ghost stories? I mean, it probably doesn't matter anyways. I'm probably gonna make the video regardless if you guys wanna see it or not, but sometimes it's nice to have comments on your videos. Zombie Road in Wildwood, Missouri. Outside of St. Louis lies Zombie Road, a hotbed for ghostly activities. There are many scary stories stemming from the Weatherford Road, which is its actual name. From sightings of Native American spirits wandering the stretch to victims of train accidents. There used to be active tracks there. In the 1950s, it became a popular site for teens to hang out, with various murders happening in the area too. It's also rumored to be the home of the base of a murderer named Zombie, who escaped from a mental asylum. A mental assignment. Now, that's something that's like a really hard assignment and your brain just kind of like explodes. That's a mental assignment. The stretch has now been claimed as a nature trail, but it's closed once night falls, with a hefty fine for anyone who trespasses at night. So that leads to the question, would you go exploring this trail at nighttime? I probably wouldn't, because I have bad eyesight anyways, and just adding the dark to it, not a good mix. And like, regardless of the murderers and the ghosts and the spirits, just on that fact alone, the poor eyesight, I'm not doing it. Katie DeWitt James left her home with her baby after she filed for a divorce from her husband. She planned to move in with her cousin, but her family never heard from her. After an investigation, it turned out that she moved in with a neighbor, and she was last seen leaving the house with Franny, who's the neighbor, and her child in a carriage. Franny returned with the child, who was covered in blood, but she was without Katie. Later, Katie's body was found along a nearby creek with her head cut off. It was rumored that her ex-husband and the neighbor had killed her, but Franny claimed that she wasn't involved in Katie's death. But on that day, when she was supposed to be questioned by police, she poisoned herself. However, Katie is still around though. She allegedly appears as a blue light floating around the town, and people have reported hearing a woman looking for her baby and the rolling sound of wheels. So I'm assuming that they mean that the carriage is making these sounds. And the last story in this article is about the Myrtles Plantation. Now, I have an entire video on my channel dedicated to the Myrtles Plantation where I share freaky photographs and my opinions on whether or not I think they're real. And spoiler alert, I think most of them are real and they're absolutely terrifying. So if you want to see that, make sure to check out that video. Link will be in the description box below or up here. I will leave a link up on the top of the video. So if you want to check that out, make sure to do so. And I think that's it for today. If you like this video, make sure to please give it a big thumbs up because it really helps me out. Also, make sure to subscribe to my channel if you like anything about ghosts, ghouls, anything creepy or cool. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, when you're down there, make sure to hit the bell so you can be the first person notified when I have new uploads, and that way you'll be notified when I have premieres. And I think that's it for today, and bye!